There's a hike on Santorini that explains everything. On the Fiera Trail is the small village of Imerovigli. It was all but destroyed in 1956. Yet today, it's among the toniest of villages on the island. If you're looking for a hotel with that zero-edge pool and high-end cuisine within walking distance, this is the spot. It has tavernas, too, but Ia and Imerovigli are Santorini's equivalents of Bel Air and Beverly Hills. Imerovigli is also a great spot to imagine the past because jutting out from the village is a promontory of lunar landscape topped by a great black rock. Geographically, Skaros Rock is a cape. Beneath the rock, the citadel once protected Venetians under siege. Now stand in this lunar landscape and look across the caldera. You're perched on the rim of what remains, where the whole story comes together in one view into the past and present. Atlantis, Akrotiri, pirates, earthquakes, wine baskets, white villages, blue domes, honeymooners. And now, of course, aerial drones. Santorini is not beautiful in the traditional sense. It's beautiful by the accident of its survival and by the careful intention by which it has rebuilt itself multiple times. Its romance is undeniably enhanced by the dazzling white cave houses with their brilliant blue doors. But its beauty is equal parts artistry and a stubborn insistence on existing. The rebuilding of Imerovigli is a perfect example. It seems neither volcanic cataclysm or earthquake, nor pirates or pashas can deny the island its destiny. Condé Nast gives Santorini top honors for world's most romantic destination. Honeymooners got the memo, so you'll have plenty of opportunities to offer to snap photos of couples as they pose against the unique backdrop of sugar cube buildings tumbling downward at the margins of the impossible villages embroidered along the caldera. Global Traveler has called Santorini the best island in Europe for 12 years running. All in, Europe has nearly 1 million islands, with 10,000 of them in the Aegean, and 6,000 of those counted as part of Greece. Point being, there's plenty of competition on the European island front, so way to go, Santorini. As fellow travelers, we can find tacky tchotchkes anywhere. We can find bad food, overpriced, anywhere. But when we travel with intention and with open minds and hearts, we can also find the authenticity of a place. Authenticity almost always being what made a destination special to begin with. The Greek National Tourism Organization recognizes Santorini for its authenticity, with a capital A. They say it leads in offering travelers deeper, more meaningful connections. 4 points make their case. The scent of crushed thyme along ancient hiking trails. The sound of waves against black, red, and white volcanic shores. The taste of local wine pressed from vines that defy the island's winds. And the warmth of people who treat strangers like family. I like their list. And I think the best way to experience the authentic Santorini they mention is to trust a certified travel counselor in planning your trip. Having gone through the training and been certified myself, I understand that minutiae are what make any trip all it can be. A beautiful painting exists only because of the thousands of exactly right brushstrokes of which its canvas is covered. And a travel paintbrush in the hands of the right travel agent artist makes all the difference between a masterpiece and a piece of art on the fridge that any 4-year-old can paint. Now, with apologies to 4-year-olds everywhere, it's almost always best to leave things to a professional, which is what we did during the first week of our first trip to Greece in 2001. My father passed away about 6 weeks before our trip was planned. But as many do now, our family delayed his memorial service for a few months, giving family and friends in Alaska and across the lower 48 time to make plans to attend his celebration of life. While I contemplated canceling our trip, my mom insisted we keep to our plan. So that first trip to Greece was tinged with grief and gratitude. Losing a parent is like that. And within months, my world would jumble even more. I worked in travel technology, and 9/11 was just 90 days into the future. I remember all of this now and mention it here because not only has technology changed irrevocably in the past 25 years, travel has as well. Sometimes in lockstep, sometimes in lurching, painful setbacks and stumbles. In 2001, websites were largely static affairs, with fax numbers still the way commercial digital communications worked, including travel reservations. With $350 in long-distance faxing among our telephone charges, and plenty of rising at 3 a.m. to send and receive those faxes, I arranged our trip piece by piece, including hotels in Mykonos and Santorini. The best planning I did was to hire a driver on the mainland for 7 days. In his new Mercedes, George, the famous taxi driver of Greece, ensured we experienced the full gamut of Greek history. From ancient Corinth and the tumbled columns of the Temple of Hera in Olympia, to the mystical hoodoos of Matera, with its monasteries high in the air and monks chanting at eventide, even as a breaking storm tore at silver olive branches, and a shepherd brought his flock of sheep in from the field, bells tinkling around their necks with each step. Great claps of thunder and slashing torrential rain stole the soundscape. Travel memories like these I wouldn't have had I not hired someone who knew the best destinations. And now I have a story, ineffable indeed. George also gave us a view of Thermopylae that rendered the need for the movie 300 completely redundant. He introduced us to thyme honey on yogurt at a small inn on the Peloponnese. Fellow travelers, 2 words: thyme, honey. Or when you're on Tassos in the northern Aegean, 2 more words: pine, honey. Just, I can't. Words fail. Finally, George's patient tutelage over 7 days is why I can now muster enough recognition of a few letters in Greece's 3 alphabets, archaic, standard, and modern, to, be of no use whatsoever. But knowing those 24 letters and understanding Greece's role in establishing so many fundamentals of Western culture, well, George's offhand teaching of written Greek during some 1,500 miles of driving in that Mercedes has had a huge impact on my study of art and literature and history in the intervening quarter century. But after leaving George behind, we were on our own without a professional. And when we were on our own during the second week, first on Mykonos and then on Santorini, it simply wasn't as meaningful, memorable, magical, not knowing what we were witnessing, why it was important, how it once mattered, and why it mattered still. We didn't have a professional to guide our eyes and cue our ears. Truth be told, that's what I'm attempting to do here. Ours is a conversation. Not about the hottest, trendiest things to do on Santorini or the best beach bars on the east side of the island or the highest rated hotel concierge or day spa. Those are important elements of your trip, and they are covered by other travel writers and podcasters in supreme detail. I hope what I can offer is a perspective that what we've come to witness in any place is the story, just out of frame. That's my mission with Vast Compass, to connect what we see with what we need to know. Together, seeing and knowing become a powerful tool of understanding. Understanding why Santorini's subductive geology will one day again reshape its geography. Why Lisbon's street widths vary neighborhood to neighborhood. Why Prague's buildings sometimes have 3, even 4 addresses. And why the Balinese language has no words for art or religion. Those stories are what my travel photography and essays are all about, and which is why the inaugural travel photo card of my subscription program is of a blue door in Santorini. Doors are metaphors, of course. Bilbo's round door in the Shire is the portal that gave him the adventure of a lifetime for one so small. Doors are also signatures of a place, of culture, of craft, of history, of design. They are beautiful and practical. And my choice of this photo for the first installment of our journey together, I'm cueing my Kickstarter backers to think of my photography and essays as portals to new ways of seeing, being, and becoming, to having beautiful travel experiences by getting all the practical stuff right. To having journeys worth taking. Santorini isn't a beach vacation, or a honeymoon, or an archaeological artifact, or a backdrop to the best photo on our Christmas card. Of course, it's all of these, and limitless more beside, but if we take a second look, it's also a lesson in resilience written in stone, ash, and whitewashed walls. An island that was destroyed, eventually repopulated, eventually destroyed again, and eventually rebuilt into one of the most photographed places on Earth. Not because it was spared from disaster, but because it learned and relearned how to live afterwards. And maybe that's the real reason we feel something in Santorini we can't quite explain. We're not just looking at a view. We're standing atop a floating shard of rock, buoyed by the fire of creation, only 3 steps removed from our galaxy's source of all life. And though it goes against all logic, we think of this irrefutably violent place as heaven on earth. This pile of talus and scree, this bounty of gravel and wind, this pristine white and deepest blue at every glance. Yeah. Taken in whole, this is what the fuss is all about. Endurance is why we value Santorini so much. Its stick-to-itiveness. Its refusal to be anything other than paradise. Its refusal to let entropy have the last word. Like the billions who have come before us, we have a natural affinity for something that endures, that lives on and connects us across time. Like having a sense of place, gazing at the stars, peering out to sea. It's why we tell stories. Stories that go on and on and on. Long after we, you and I, and my dad, fade and disappear. Passports and reservations for a train today are not so different than lines drawn in dirt, made by elders millennia ago, who pointed a cane and struck out for the next valley, and the next, and the next. This curiosity is our birthright. It's in our DNA. Their stories are ours. They make us the keepers of ancient keys to unlock future memories and safeguard treasures from the past that we hold dear. Let's call it our shared love of travel and a shared appreciation for the ways in which seeing new worlds gives us new eyes and new corners in our hearts. I find it deeply fitting that Santorini is named for a saint whose name means peace, a place that was born of such violent upheaval, and even now teeters on the literal edge of shaky uncertainty. It is still a respite from the wider world. Its blue waters and vivid white buildings an antidote to the stresses of too many emails, too much time in traffic, too little self-care. Fortunate we. While we're in Santorini, there is more wine than water, more sunshine than is fair to ask for, and more beauty than we've any right to expect. And we know that time has the final word, so let's raise a glass and say, Opa! As we enjoy the bounties of one of travel's most astonishing and rewarding destinations. We learned at the top that Santorini was once called the Round One. Turns out it has a third name, which may be the most apt of all. Kallisti, the Greek word for most beautiful one. Most beautiful indeed. Safe journeys and all best fellow travelers.